This video shows how I made my sustainable composite panel. Using 20x50 dowels, I create a frame that I fix together with screws and then piece together using an MDF board as the base. Here I'm mixing 200 grams of borax powder with 1 litre of water. This creates a solution that makes the straw fire resistant and pest resistant. Next, I add 200 grams of clay with water until it's a consistent sludgy paste. I then get the borax soaked straw and mix it in with the clay until all the straw's fully covered. Once the straw's fully covered, I add it into a mould that fits into the full panel. It's added 50mm at a time until it reaches the top. I then compress it using weights. Now I begin to make the cladding. This is 2 pieces put together. Once fixed together, I start the tsushigami technique, which involves burning the wood for several layers to give a charred effect. It can give off different aesthetics depending on how many layers. Here I'm using a wood treatment on a plain piece of cladding that results in this. Next, I get raw linseed oil with crafting paper. I rub it evenly on each side. Half an hour later, it gets another layer and then left overnight to dry. I then use the same borax solution to mix in with the sheep's wool insulation. This stops mould and pesticides from affecting the insulation. It also increases the resistance to fire in the insulation. After 2 days, the core has dried. Now I fix the internal cork face, adding the vapour barrier, then the treated sheep's wool, the straw and clay core, another layer of insulation and vapour barrier, then finally the charred cladding layer. I've made a drip for the bottom panel to stop any water soaking into the bottom. Here's the finished product stacking on top of each other. I then carried out a fire test, holding the flame 50mm away from the board and leaving it for 60 seconds. This untreated one burnt. The one that's treated performed as expected with no fire made. I then test the straw core. Because I use the borax solution, the straw just chars and doesn't ignite. Finally, I move on to the vapour test. I use a wet sponge, put it in containers and seal the container over the top. The plain crafting paper was wet, showing that the water sealed through. The paper treated with linseed oil was dry. And here's the finished product.